former Texas Railroad Commissioner and former Texas Education Agency Commissioner, Michael Williams. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Good morning, Jack. Good to be with you.
Good to be with you. So you had said a month ago after the debate that, you wouldn't be surprised if President Biden stepped aside, and he sure has. And so I'm wondering, why do you think he did it?
Well, I'll take him at his word. I mean, I take him at his word that he did it, obviously, to pass the torch to a younger generation. There's no doubt, however, that in the background, there was a great deal of push from Democratic leaders who saw, as I mentioned on our show a month ago, that his debate performance and the affirmation that he was no longer fit to run for office again was putting their reelection bids at risk.
And how do you think this changes the race?
Well, there's no doubt that Vice President Harris brings a level of energy into this campaign, that there was a enthusiasm gap between Republicans and Democrats, and now that gap is closing, if not has closed. And so she's going to bring that energy. She's done it, initially, and now we'll see if she can keep it going when the real campaign starts.
And how do you think the Trump-Vance ticket should campaign against her, prosecute her, if you will? That's a term that that Vice President Harris is using against former President Trump. So how do you think the Republicans should campaign against her?
As an old prosecutor myself for 10 years at state and federal level, I'll use that term myself. All campaigns are about two main issues: one's record of achievement and their vision for an American future. And the best way, I think, to deal with the vice president is to go on her record, which is limited, poor, and weak, particularly on two major issues. It's poor, limited, and weak as it relates to the border and border security. It is the same as it relates to jobs and the economy. On the border, when President Trump left office, there were less than 500,000 illegal immigrants coming into this country. As recent as 2023, under the Biden administration, is 2.5 million. Tie the vice president at the hip to the president. That's sort of the first thing. And on the economy, there's no doubt that the pre-COVID economy of President Trump, there was prosperity, there were jobs. People were able to pay for the groceries and buy a home. That is not the case today. Tie her to the president, and then beyond that, sort of prosecute her based upon her own record, her record when she was attorney general and district attorney in California, where she had a lax record as it related to prosecuting individuals that were subject to the death penalty. Do the same thing for her when she was running for president in 2020, and she supported defund the police. So there are a number of ways to attack the vice president.
And it's been a minute since you and I have spoken. What is your reaction to former President Trump selecting Senator J.D. Vance from Ohio as his vice presidential nominee? And do you think that, it would have been better to choose a woman given everything that's taken place in the Democratic Party?
Well, obviously, it's a whole lot easier to do this if you can look in the rearview mirror. But the President Trump didn't have the opportunity to do that, and so what he did was to look at what was the landscape at the moment where he made the decision. Decided that right smack in the middle of the country, in the Midwest, particularly Ohio, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, is where you're going to have to fight this thing out. And obviously, Senator Vance is from Ohio, and he can obviously play a large role, a significant role in carrying Ohio, as well as the surrounding states. And so in that sense, it was a tactical decision. I think a tactical decision that makes sense. There's always an advantage to the team that gets to go second, because you get to know what the team before you just did. But as a tactical decision that former President Trump made, it's a decent decision.
Do you see the Electoral College map changing at all? I mean, obviously before, and we heard it from Senator Vance directly during his nomination speech. Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania. He mentioned those three states over and over. Those are considered the blue wall for the Democrats. And do you believe, still going to be the place that this race is won?
Yeah, that's, when you look historically at the last 4 to 5 presidential campaigns, there were states that are the battleground states, and they remain the same states, the ones that you listed. In addition to that, we can add Arizona. I think you'd add Illinois, but I think that the map has changed a little bit. So we go back to the battleground states that have always been the battleground states, and you fight it out there.
And I want to ask you, I mean, right now it seems like the different sayings. So you have Vice President Harris saying, "We're not going back," and you have former President Trump saying, "We have to take our country back." So talk to me a little bit about those two campaign mantras and how they are designed to appeal to, their bases of support, and how this will be carried out through the campaign.
Well, I think obviously what Vice President Harris is talking about is sort of the regrade, if you will, of decisions made by the U.S. Supreme Court, whether it relates to abortion or whether it relates to sort of other areas. And so that's what she's referring to. When President Trump says that we need to take our country back, I think in large part he's talking about obviously protecting that border. He's talking about in terms of providing real prosperity to Americans through jobs and economic opportunity. Talking about in terms of protecting my Second Amendment right, which is to own and possess a weapon, and recognizing that the vice president during her campaign for president said very, very clearly that she was opposed to me exercising that right as fully as I do today. So when President Trump says "take America back," talking about providing America with true energy security, and that means allowing, as he said in his speech at the convention, and borrowing the line from former Speaker Newt Gingrich, "drill, baby, drill," because American producers can help us take America back by putting us in a position where we had true energy security by turning them loose. But the vice president said when she ran for president in 2020 that she was opposed to fracking, which is a fundamental element of the new opportunity to drill in America.
And my last question to you is, you talked about how, campaigns are talking about what do you want to do in the next 4 years, the future. And, one of the top issues that we've seen in this campaign has been inflation. And while the level of inflation has certainly gone down from the record levels we saw in 2022, the prices themselves still go up. The pricing levels for many goods and services have not come down. So how do you believe Republicans should try to convince Americans that they can bring down prices?
Well, I think President Trump goes back to what he did when he was president the first time, that you had a serious effort to lower regulations on businesses so that they can produce products and services cheaper that will drive prices down. That you had a rational tax code that did not overtax business, whether it's small business or big business, so that they can provide those products again and services at a lower cost. That will drive prices down. So that is unlike the plan of the vice president, which is to raise taxes, and obviously, which is to have an entire new scheme of a new regulatory environment scheme.
All right. Former TEA and former Texas Railroad Commissioner Michael Williams, thank you so much. As always, we appreciate it.
Thanks, Chad. Take care now.
Good to see you.